Game 1 of the NBA Finals, as I mentioned, is Wednesday. And as I said off the top, I don't do a ton of NBA playoffs here on this show. I think there are better places you can go for a breakdown of, how does the Miami Heat, how do they match up with Anthony Davis? And who do they like? That's not what I am going to do. But I do think that, again, with my background covering college hoops, we have so many Kentucky fans that listen to this show with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo on the Miami Heat, with Anthony Davis on the Los Angeles Lakers, with Pat Riley, who, for people who do not know, is a Kentucky grad. It just feels like, why not talk NBA Finals? There's not much going on in college hoops on a Tuesday evening, or Tuesday morning, excuse me. So let's talk a little bit about the NBA Finals, because while I am not going to kind of just like break down rosters and matchups and all that stuff, what I will do is I want to say that the Miami Heat are kind of like basically the most fascinating team that I can ever remember in the NBA, certainly one that has made it this far. And I do think part of it comes back to what I just said a minute ago, my coverage of college basketball, the fact that I've been around this sport my entire life. I grew up in Connecticut. I grew up going to UConn games when I was 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And so I love college hoops, but I will say that college hoops has, and really basketball has, something that I do think is a little bit frustrating as time goes on to relate to as a fan, and that is that I do think there is a lot of times a disconnect between the players and the average fan. I don't necessarily blame the players. The bottom line is they are they're born with incredible physical gifts, but because of it, if you cover high school hoops and college hoops like I have, you know that some of them, really, they start to really, frankly, just get pampered and taken care of at 15, 16, 17 years old. Agents get involved, money gets involved, shoe companies get involved, and these guys do get a little bit spoiled, right? Like, that's the nature of anything. If you get too much too soon, too young, whether you're an actor, whether you're a basketball player, whether you're a quarterback with one of these quarterback coaches, like, you can get a little pampered, you can get a little spoiled, you can be a little bit out of touch with reality. And so that's what's a little bit frustrating about the NBA. But what I would say is the Miami Heat are the antithesis of that. They're the exact opposite of that. And that's what makes this Miami Heat thing so cool, is you have these NBA guys that we know at 13, 14, 15 years old, they're going to be a future NBA All-Star and make $100 million. And, it's just different with the Miami Heat, who have one of the most dynamic, fascinating rosters that I can ever remember. For people who don't know much about him, we should probably start with Jimmy Butler. He is their best player. And for people who don't know about Jimmy Butler, I know he's a little bit weird and different and kind of awkward. And for people who didn't see the story, he actually brought his own espresso machine into the bubble and started charging other players for cups of coffee in the morning. Like, he's just a different cat, right? And I think some people take it as arrogance, some people take it as weirdness. But what I'll say is, if you actually understand Jimmy Butler's background, he's kind of one of the coolest athletes I think we got going in professional sports right now, right? He is not the guy that was handed a silver spoon at 13, 14, 15 years old. As a matter of fact, he's the exact opposite. Actually, kind of a sad story. I tweeted it out on Twitter on Sunday night after the Heat clinched, but people seem to really like it. And Jimmy Butler's story is very simply this. Really tough childhood. His parents, his dad abandoned him when he was a baby. His mother kicked him out of the house when he was 13 years old. And he basically spent most of his teen years, most of his high school years, couch surfing, just looking for a place to belong, just looking for a roof over his head. Even when he got through his high school years, he went to junior college. Ended up at Marquette with Buzz Williams. Not going to lie, I did try to get Buzz Williams on this podcast. We got a polite decline on that one. But the bottom line remains is that with Jimmy Butler, he just has a story completely unlike any other, right? And it's no disrespect to LeBron, but at 16 years old, LeBron was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. At 16 years old, he had agents and shoe companies fighting over him. Never had to worry about a dollar for the rest of his life starting at 18 years old. Not saying there's anything wrong with LeBron, but what I am saying is it's pretty cool that Jimmy Butler can get to this same stage where at 18 years old, he was just looking for a couch to sleep on. Where at 19 years old, he was at some junior college in the middle of nowhere trying to prove that he belongs. When at 21, he was a senior in college, and we all know there's nothing less cool in life right now than being a college basketball player when you're a 22-year-old senior. Gets to the NBA, and even then, doesn't make his first All-Star team till about year 4, year 5, doesn't really fit in. He's not really one of the guys, and now here he is in the NBA Finals. He's certainly not the only one. Jay Crowder, another JUCO guy that ended up at Marquette. Duncan Robinson started at a D3 school, transfers to Michigan, and I'm sure a lot of you guys saw the story that popped up on Sunday into Monday, but Duncan Robinson actually reached out to Mark Titus, who's a very prominent college basketball writer, and said, hey, man, how do I get into the media? Because my basketball career is about to come to an end after Michigan, and now here's this guy in the NBA Finals. I would mention even the guys from Kentucky, right? Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero. You think about Kentucky. You think about the fact, there is no bigger blue blood in college basketball, maybe in all of college athletics, than the University of Kentucky. Those guys must have a silver spoon. Those guys must be guys that had the easy road to the NBA Finals. Not at all. Bam Adebayo is another one whose story is really well told. He grew up in a single-wide trailer in rural North Carolina. His mom walked to work every day. Worked at, I believe, a grocery store to provide money so that her only son, could play basketball, and he repays her by getting to the NBA, and now she lives in the same apartment complex, the same condo complex that he does. I mean, you just talk about a feel-good story. It doesn't get better than Bam Adebayo and his family. Tyler Hero, same deal. We see him as the 37-point a game in the Eastern Conference Finals guy. Let's not forget, first of all, he was committed to Wisconsin. Had a bunch of people ask me this, and I think you're 100% correct. If he doesn't go to Kentucky, he's probably still at Wisconsin right now. He's probably going into, I guess it would be his junior year at the University of Wisconsin right now. Instead, he believes in himself. He bets on himself and goes to Kentucky. But even then, there were bumps along the way. I shared this story a few days ago on Twitter, but a few years ago, I was at the Nike Hoop Summit, which is a big all-star game up in Portland. He flies up there. He flies across country. He's playing in this game. And Tyler Hero was the player that got the fewest minutes on Team USA in that game. There was a bunch of guys on that team that weren't even very good. Quentin Grimes, who's still in college basketball. Nasir Little, who struggled, I believe, was there. Jordan Brown, who now plays at Arizona. But the point I'm trying to get to is Tyler Hero plays the fewest minutes. And then check this out. After the game, I asked the coach. I said, Coach, this was in a press conference. I said, Coach, why didn't Tyler Hero play more? Why didn't Tyler Hero play more? Was there something wrong? Is he okay? Was he hurt? And the coach very bluntly said, this isn't an exhibition. We were trying to win the game. So how about that? Tyler Hero in a national all-star game gets told by the coach, you didn't play because we're trying to win. Hey, coach, maybe you would have won if you put Tyler Hero in. But I bring it up because it's not to say that even the guys that look like they have had the easy path have necessarily had that easy path. I mean, even Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, they were one-and-done guys, but everyone said that the heat reached on both of them. Bam Adebayo was a guy that people thought was going to fall to the mid to late first round. Can't say I really saw why, but people said that he was going to. Some people thought the heat reached on Tyler Hero. Now these guys are in the NBA Finals. And so I just bring this up because I think there's a lot of really important life lessons in this Miami Heat stuff, right? One thing that I will talk about with Herschel Walker on Thursday is that I do think that too much in our own world, right? And I include myself in this. I'm not saying that everybody else is wrong and I'm right and I'm not. I don't do this. But too often in life, we look at somebody else and we say, man, that guy, that girl, I want their job. I want their relationship. I want their life. I want their husband. I want their wife. I want what they have. And you don't realize that everyone struggled to get to where they are, right? And we think of even these professional athletes as guys and girls that have had, like I said a minute ago, the charm, the silver spoon. They were identified at 13 years old and given a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And that's just not how it is. Jimmy Butler sleeping on couches in high school. Tyler Hero being told that he wasn't good enough to represent Team USA at the Nike Hoop Summit. Bam Adebayo, single-wide trailer. It's unbelievable. It's great, and I think it's a great metaphor for life. One, everybody, even the most successful people, have struggles. Two, you never know what other people went through to get to where they are. And three, believe in yourself. That was what I tweeted out on Sunday that made so many headlines and people really liked it, was like, these guys all believed in themselves when nobody else did. It would have been easy for Jimmy Butler to give up on himself when he has to start sleeping on couches and doing stuff that he doesn't want to do and moving around. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing he probably was carrying around his clothes in a trash bag or something like that. It would have been easy for him to give up on himself. It would have been easy for Bam Adebayo to see his mom struggling and say, you know what, I need to go to work. I need to help her out. I need to go get a minimum wage job. I'm 16 years old. Instead, he focused. Instead, to his mom's credit, she let him do his thing. But in the end, it's not as though he did not have a struggle. And so I just find the Heat to be so absolutely fascinating. And I just love their story, and I cannot wait to watch them. But I think it's an important lesson. Don't look at what everybody else has. Don't assume everybody else had the easy path. Everybody's had obstacles. Everybody's had hurdles. I think the Miami Heat are a great